Good day, my fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Corner of Remnant. I'm your host, Larissa, and I'm joined by co-host Emperial Dawn.
Yo!
And today we're discussing Chapter 9 of RWBY Volume 9. And we're
Yes.
almost at the finale, which is
Almost there.
exciting. Almost there. Hi, Nightwalker. You've caught the start of the stream.
Yes!
Yay!
Yes, a tale involving a tree.
Yes.
Episode 9. The penultimate episode of the volume, which has been very good volume. Very good.
Absolutely. I love Volume 9. It's just... It's
This feels like this is what Volume 4 was trying to be.
Yeah.
I feel like. If
Yeah,
that's a good way to
definitely.
kind of
Yeah.
phrase it. It's kind of like this kind of more isolated story. Obviously it has the more focus than Volume 4 had. But, you know, it's like just a very character build volume and season and stuff, and very much enjoyed it, and it'll be sad to see it end after such a long hiatus, and then a shorter season, and then another hiatus going in next with less confidence of what's to come next after this one as well. So it'll be a bit of a darker hiatus, I feel like, than usual.
Yeah.
Makes sense after the dark season we've had, I guess.
Yes.
From a certain point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. I've loved, like, this volume. It's been so bright and colourful, but yes, it has had those dark moments as well. We've had the sort of character focus that we've really wanted. A lot of things that we've wanted previously that we've gotten, like Ruby's meltdown. We had the Bumblebee kiss. We had, well, in this episode, Cat Neo being, you know, Pyrrha to John, and people always wanted that.
Yeah,
you know, there's a
it's
lot of things.
very much careful what you wish for kind of thing, for sure.
Yeah, true. Yes,
but it's been the highs have been better than the lows, I think, so far.
Yeah, it's been. I just loved it. It's just very different from the previous volumes, and it's been really good. It's been really good.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see people react to this season that maybe aren't hardcore RWBY fans. People outside the community reacting to it. Very interested to see, and how they kind of take. Because obviously we have all like we've rewatched the series. We know all the little Easter eggs and stuff like that, and we have obviously years of knowledge to back up from. So I'm always curious when the more casual reactors get to the show.
Yeah.
How they'll interpret things. I'm very much looking forward to that when the time comes.
Yeah, I found just recently a couple reactors who actually just have just found the show, and they're just reacting to the intros. That's been really interesting.
I've seen a few people who, like, depending on the type of reactor, people who like react to the entire soundtracks first before they watch the show.
Yes.
People watch the intros, that kind of stuff. So it's cool that it can get to different. It's cool that it can get to different different communities and types of reactors as well.
Yes. This finale is there's a ton of hype and uncertainty. Yeah. I was chatting with friend Tyson, Dragon Bees, last night out on our stream, and he said he thinks it's going to end on a cliffhanger. I'm like, yep, I can definitely see it doing that.
If I had to guess, I could totally see the volume just ending with us going through the door, fading to white.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
And and I say that I think more from a production standpoint, considering how tight this volume has been production-wise, despite its length, the volume and the production. I can't imagine they'll bring in, Team Coffee assets or new Vacuo assets just for the end of this.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting Vacuo. If anything, maybe a little snippet of it at like the end credit scene, like we did with Volume 8. We saw the beach. Maybe we'll get something at the end.
But even then, I feel like if we do that, it'll just be existing assets like the Vacuo Desert we've already seen in Volume 8, the characters we already saw in Volume 8. I don't think we'll get anything new, like, I don't think we'll get any coffee stuff or new stuff to that degree.
No, I think we'll get something, but yeah.
Yeah, but even if we do get through the door, we might be at the Spring of Creation or wherever the door.
We don't know where it's going to plonk them in the world. It's not necessarily going to pump them where they need to be. We don't know how it works.
We might not even get an after credits scene as well, which I think is also possible to not get one, because you didn't get one like in Volume.
Yeah, there hasn't always been one.
I think 7 was the only volume we didn't.
I think 7 was, because people were questioning
6 was
at the
the
time.
flying monkeys.
Yeah.
And then 8 was the beach. I don't think that was 1 of 7. I think that was a big hubbub there, because 1 of 7 didn't have one, I think.
Yeah, and people were like, why? And the creepy were like, well, we didn't feel like there was one needed.
But we do know, this episode will be the longest. Eddie has confirmed this will be the longest episode of the season.
Woo! There's a lot to pack in this finale, so yes.
Casey is also hyped up.
Oh god, has she? I mean,
a more like anthem kind of thing, which I even was hoping that if we do
Yeah.
get a credit song, and it's not Red Like Roses Part 3,
Mm.
I love if we got like an Okay Goodnight song, like Awake. We get like
Yes.
real, just like a different
Awake.
thing. I'd love to get
Yeah.
something like that. By the way, go make sure to check out The Bear, new song by Okay Goodnight. Very good.
Yes. I haven't actually checked that out yet. I do need to do that.
Very. It's just Awake but different. It's very good.
Yeah.
I really like it.
I really like Awake. When you listen to the full song, it's very different, but I really like it. It's really good.
It's Okay Goodnight. If you don't understand what the hell they're talking about, that's the point.
Yeah.
It's a lot of words and passionate singing and a lot of like vagueness. That's Okay Goodnight. That's just what they do.
Yes.
But it sounds awesome. It's great.
It's
great energy to listen to and all that kind of stuff.
And if you like Casey singing, you'll love it. I just looked up 100%. Her tweet. So she says, tomorrow's app is OG Beast Mode Rock City and Feel Good Indie City.
Hey, OG. So that I think that's a tease for Red Like Roses. I know that a lot of people want Red Like Roses Part 3. I know you've been asking that for like literally since the start of this podcast. Like back in Volume 5, you were asking for that.
Yes.
The closest we got was Indomitable. That was the kind of closest we got to it.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It was more of a Monty song in the end.
I know.
But
I remember at the time thinking, oh, this might finally be the RWBY song, and it wasn't. Yeah. But I'm really curious too. Like, obviously we know that the most recent song we got in this episode was just a very short snippet. But I'm wondering if because it's Casey, if we might get maybe a quicker turnaround for the soundtrack after this volume.
Yeah, possibly.
I feel like that will be the case, but I'm not obviously putting out any kind of like expectations or pressure on Casey to get out the soundtrack.
Yes. Yes, there was some Red Like Roses hint. Yeah, there was a bit of the Red Like Roses piano theme during.
The music was really good this episode, especially
really
in the void.
Yes.
Wherever that in the tree, I guess.
The in between. You know.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and Casey also says in brackets, "You're welcome. Let's cry together." So like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm wondering if the Feel Good Indie City is the end credit scene, and the OG Beast Mode Rock City is the hopefully Red Like Roses 3. Maybe the fight with Cat Neo when RWBY returns and hopefully helps them defeat Cat Neo. Or the
I'm not even. I hope we do. I'm not even confident we'll get that. Like I almost. Like, I can almost see that, like, they beat Neo, and then RWBY returns, and then it's kind of like a big feel-good moment. Then they go to Remnant. Like, I don't know if RWBY would necessarily be involved in this fight. It doesn't seem like they just needed. I feel like they were handling Cat Neo better than they would have regular Neo.
Yes.
Which I like that detail. Like, Cat Neo is not as strong as regular Neo, at least in terms of fighting ability. Power-wise, probably stronger.
Yeah.
But fighting-wise, like, again, like, we've never seen Neo take hits before, other than maybe fighting against Cinder and a few times against Penny and Maria. But, the cat was getting kicked in. Shit kicked in.
It really
this episode.
Was. Yeah.
Which again, as much as I disliked the whole thing and what it could potentially do for Neo's character and stuff, I liked the hints that Neo was still in there.
Yes.
We got a tease of that in this episode, and we also got I will admit, RWBY does an incredible job of giving Neo a voice in the cat, and it's very satisfying.
It is.
Fighting this cat and Neo. That's why I really hope that we get them separated and we can still get the cat back with Salem, because I feel like I'd love that dynamic.
Yeah, they're not letting the cat get away. Well, I think it was not more the fact like Neo has no reason to return to Remnant now, and I think that was what was not letting them pass through the door.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. Like I don't know how with what they've set up how the cat could escape at this point, because it clearly can't do it with Neo, and obviously won't do it with RWBY.
Yeah.
My
only
one
of the others, but I don't know.
Yeah. My only thought is that maybe they, depending on how the situation plays out, maybe they get a chance to talk to the cat, they speak it out, and they go through the door together. Like, hey, you want to leave? Fine, we'll let you leave. Come with us, kind of thing. And maybe with that kind of acceptance, they'll be able to leave, because the cat doesn't trust them. But if the cat had asked at the start, they might have just taken him with him.
Maybe.
Obviously, because Alex said she would do that, and that's why he doesn't trust them.
Yeah. So I also feel like the cat's really showing its true colours now. Like it was being all friendly and helpful, and now it's like no. I don't think they will agree to take the cat through the door, not after knowing now it killed Alex.
But it also depends what this new RWBY is and how she feels about it. And I just think back to the scene when they were in the Punderstorm, and we had that moment of the cat's honesty, and we had that moment of the cat kind of, I think, being genuine in that moment. So I feel like the cat that exists in the cat. And that could come out again. We could get,
I think the cat, though, when it was, they asked what happened at the tree, and it said, "I don't know." It was lying there because it knew what happened. What
that's
happened
true.
with Alex and Lewis at the door. Yeah, and that was a bit of surprise. Apparently, Corey, of course, Kane and Corey doing the boob class later today, but Corey thought it was Lewis who went through the door, not Alex, and that was correct. Which I thought that was a really good twist of the story. We thought it was always Alex got through the door, but no, it didn't. It was Lewis who got through the door. Which makes sense
because every time whenever the characters reference the book, it feels like Alex talking about themselves, like from the third person. So it makes sense the fact that it's not the case. Lewis is speaking.
Lewis wrote it. Yeah, Lewis
wrote it as Alex and took himself out of the story.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Detail
really cool. leads more credence to the whole Ozpin thing.
Possibly, yeah.
Because we know Lewis survives and goes back to Remnant and writes the story and stuff, whereas Alex seemingly gets, turns around to go back and help John and stay in the ever after and fix her mistakes before the cat cuts her down before she has the chance to do that.
Yeah, which also leads to the fact is Alex being reborn in the ever after, and a lot of people thinking she's Juniper. Because we believe John met Juniper after he was poisoned. Juniper helped getting to the paper pleasers. So it's very possible that...
It depends on your interpretation, because I was interpreting that as in he was there and he was the one who just helped her, rather than he found him to take him back. But it all depends on interpretation.
Don't know.
But again, I think the problem with that is that feels too quick. That feels like John was poisoned, they go to the tree immediately... She immediately dies, immediately comes back as Juniper, then goes back to John. Like, that's a lot in a very short amount of time.
It is, it's very true.
I've definitely seen more credence to the idea that she's become the tree, that she's become a part of the tree, she's become the blacksmith because she wanted to stay and help, and becoming a part of the tree is the biggest help you could do for this world.
Yeah.
And there's some ties, there's some, like, in the braids of the blacksmith's hair, kind of matches some of the belt and ribbon colours she has in her design. It's vague, it's not possibly a connection, but
the only thought that sort of pops the square in the works with that is that Alex mentions she met the blacksmith. Well, Lewis wrote about the blacksmith in the story.
Yes, but I still it doesn't how this world works. It still wouldn't surprise. And also there is conjecture because of what Weiss mentions, is the carpenter and the blacksmith two separate people.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's just a misuse of words and terms deliberately to kind of confuse us. And because of how the world works, it wouldn't surprise me if someone could replace someone in the same role.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like, the blacksmith just goes on to do something else, and then Alex, again, like how we thought Jean assumed the role of the Rusted Knight. Obviously, that's not how it played out, but that was still a strong theory we had. Anyway, we're jumping around a lot.
We are. That's all right. Well, this episode was jumping around a lot as well, so...
Yeah, I guess so. But I like how... And we immediately start off with, obviously, them running towards the tree.
Missed a little scene at the start.
Right, sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Summer! When I was picking my thumbnail for my reaction, it was just when I was so excited to see someone like, yep, that's what I got to use for my thumbnail. Got a proper look of her outfit, cool. And she spoke, so we've got a voice actor for her now, and I just love that little glimpse that we've had. Properly seeing Summer in the show, because we've only ever really had little glimpses at her. So, and we get her outfit and confirm the weapon, the axe, is hers. And in the credits, there's a proper turnaround for her and the axe as well. Looking like Red Riding Huntsman. Yes. Yep. That was your thought, wasn't it, Dawn? That she was the huntsman.
The axeman.
The axeman. Yeah. Woodsman. Yeah. In Red Riding Hood's story.
Yeah. I mean, I really like it. I love that she has her own design. I still think it works with the idea that RWBY only had photos of her really from a memory, so she would still think of her in like the black and the white and stuff. I do agree that the fact she doesn't have the white hood as signature part of this design is a bit interesting.
It is. The actual hood part, it could be down.
Yeah, it just
it could be sitting.
I'm curious if that's like a separate.
Around.
She has a separate. Yeah, it's not like encloaking her like it has in every other depiction we've seen of her. Yeah, so I'm curious if that's maybe she just didn't have it on, or just wasn't, like I said, it wasn't up, or if like the outfit can still look like that.
It was,
but again,
different sort of design because it's sort of like RWBY's, which is similar to this, where it sort of wraps around.
No, you're right, Nightwalker. That's fair.
Summer's clipping. Yeah.
Again, and it makes sense. Again, if all RWBY really has is photos of Summer in her younger days when she wore more the all black and the hood and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is a great parallel to.
It was bedtime.
It's a nice parallel to RWBY herself and the idea of like, this is what Summer looked like growing up. You know, she wore all black. She had the white hood. She had a bit more of a nice but emo aesthetic kind of thing to her. But then you see her here as the mother, assumingly, probably a few nights before she disappears. I would assume.
I would assume it's just
you see this fairy tale. And she looks like her own person. She doesn't look like RWBY. Like that. I think that's important. That her own actual outfit doesn't match RWBY, because that's the point. Because RWBY's in her mind matches Summer, but in reality they're not actually. You know, what we've seen of Summer before this has all been RWBY's interpretation of Summer.
Basically,
but this is actually Summer, and she doesn't have that outfit, and she is her own person. She has the axe and all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
A lot of important details. In that regard, I'll do like the people saying like, because we saw Yang sleeping early in the volume, and she's sleeping again here, and she's snoring just like she was there. So it's a nice little connection there to the characters.
Yes.
Back and forth. So it's great seeing Summer. I'm curious again if we'll see more of her. Definitely feels like we will.
I think we will in this volume with how it ended. Definitely, we will be seeing some more. Hello. Goodness. Yeah, and then of course that then leads out to what you were saying with the John and rest of RWBY.
And I like it's a detail I think I missed the first time I watched it. I still got it, and I want to say again, I really enjoyed this episode. I didn't have, I know there are problems with this episode, and I respect them in hindsight, but at the time when I watched it, nothing about this really bothered me.
Same
apart
with me.
from maybe the smile on Yang's face. But that to me is just a matter of different departments, different people working on episodes, and maybe not having enough communication between the two. But I'll get to why that's. I think it's okay. I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we'll discuss that in a moment.
But,
because I got.
But I like the detail of because of how we know the acres are set up.
Yeah.
The idea of like the paper pleasers is here, where the illusion was here, and the tree's up here. So they go towards the tree, but then in a flash they end up back in the paper pleasers, which is opposite direction. Yeah. Which is something they don't highlight enough. I feel like for the context of the scene, because it's the idea of like. They went to the tree and they immediately got pushed back to the paper please. They got pushed back in the opposite direction, which we've seen before. Yes. But it's easy to miss. It's easy to miss. Like, because remember when I first watched it, why are they at the paper pleasers? I thought they were going to the tree. Yes. Because again, but that's the point is you can't physically go to the tree. That's the point. Go to so they ended up back at the paper please stuff, and you have Jean kind of, you have Jean in this moment of like feeling he's failed again. And it's important to realize that. Again, because this is a little where the conjecture of the episode I think comes in. The idea that what's left of Team RWBY are going to do their best to help Jean because they don't want to see what happened to RWBY happen to Jean. So they're going to stay strong for Jean in this moment. I think that's important to remember. Yeah,
absolutely. And
you also have to remember that Team RWBY don't have the same interpretation of Ascension as Jean does. No. And RWBY in that moment did what she did with her intentions, but we see later that she realizes that didn't fix anything. She still feels in pain, and she didn't expect to be where she was. So the allegory of suicide being good is not handled perfectly well, but it's also easily interpreted in a way to where it's not that bad. Yeah. I think some people have taken it. And I think it's just important to remember that in this moment, Team RWBY don't consider Ascension the way Jean does, and they're just trying to help Jean in this moment and help him because he's still here. And, they can't do anything until they go to the tree. They know that, so in this moment they have to help Jean.
And with the way like it happened, it wasn't like RWBY got like stabbed to death or something. It was something she chose to do, and it chose by the tree. So even though yes, it was suicide in a way, with how this world works, it's not exactly. It's still
no, it's not.
Yeah, and we do see later on with Yang coming to terms. So what if she's not RWBY anymore, and all of that too. Yeah. So it's going to be a consequence of this happening, but it's not technically dead.
And something I really found interesting that I don't think I've seen many people mention, like obviously as they're running back to the tree, paper pleasers. Yes. That Jean asks, first paper pleasers. or first, I think he says Alex, then Paper Pleasers, then
Yeah.
RWBY. What does this world want? And I think that's a really important line because of really strong significance that will make you either appreciate or hate the gods more, depending. I personally, I don't. Everyone hates the gods. I don't. They're gods. I don't hate them because they're just doing what they're doing. Anyway,
they have a role to play as well as everyone else.
They're just playing their role in existence and stuff. So I don't hate them for that. But I get why people don't like them. Anyway, I think it's really important because if this is the world before the Remnant, the Ever After, this is the world where they were experimenting with a reality, and we discussed this last week. How Ever After is not a physical place. It's a realm, it's a dimension, whereas Remnant is the experiment with a physical world.
Yeah.
The Ever After is a world without life and death. It is ascension, it's a cycle, it's the same people going over and over again, and that was their experiment of this world.
Yeah.
And then they decide this world is done.
Yeah.
They leave it through the portal, and then create a physical Remnant, a physical world, where this time they're experimenting with life and death.
Yeah.
And I think that's significant because that's why life and death is so important to Remnant, because that is its purpose for existing.
Yeah.
I think is the gods. This time they're trying out, or particularly the god of creation, particularly.
Yes.
This is a world where life and death matters because it wouldn't exist without that. That's its purpose, is a world with life and death, which ties into why Salem and Ozpin's story. Again, you can be seen by some, like the gods, they're just sticking to their guns. They don't need life and death in this world. But I just find it interesting that, they make such a point of it in Volume 6 of, life and death is a delicate balance. It's very important. But then here we have the world previously, where it wasn't, where life and death didn't exist.
It didn't exist.
So I find that I find that very interesting that this world, Remnant, exists for one reason, so that people live and die, and the Ever After is the opposite of that. I just find that really interesting.
I like that idea too with the door, because I was like, if they made this world, why did they make a door to Remnant? But that makes sense if they finished this world and then went through the door. Yeah,
and that's because if it's a dimension, they can't physically leave it; they have to leave through a different means. Whereas in Remnant, because it was a physical world, they just physically left the world. The god physically left the world. Whereas in the Ever After, they had to have a portal or some sort of way to exit the dimension. Yeah. Which is also why I think it leads credence to the idea that if you go through the door, you'll either end up in a hub world, where like a gateway to multiple worlds they've created, or it'll lead to the Spring of Creation, because Spring of Creation, that's where the world started, that's where the portal leads, and therefore, in theory, there's a possibility that the exit and entrance to Remnant through the Ever After is in the Spring of Creation, but possibly to whatever the next world is, might be at either physically leaving the world and going to whatever next planet is next, or there will be a portal in the realm of darkness that will lead to the next world. Maybe. Possibly. I like that idea, but I definitely think that the Spring of Creation is a possible entrance point to this world.
And we believe the Spring of Creation is possibly near Mistral.
Yeah, it's in the northwest of... Basically, the idea of the dragon heads are the springs.
The dragon heads, yeah.
So you have the northeast of Anima, where there's one, and then you have the northwest of the dragon continent. So I don't have a name for that. Again, theoretically.
I like that idea. I do like that idea. Yeah. Oh, the paper pleasers too. So they're now the genial gems. I love that. Yes. They're so cute, and
it's very important to show.
Themselves.
To show to Jean, especially that Ascension. Because I can also imagine that while Jean believes Ascension is death, but because he saw RWBY obviously ascend, but he's in denial before this moment. He's like, no, take us to her. She's fine. They can work it out. But then it's not until the paper pleases that delusion is actually justified, and it's like, oh no, maybe I'm not delusional. Maybe I am right. Maybe Ascension isn't what I thought it was this whole time, and maybe things can be better. So I think that's very important. For the genial gems. Yeah, the genial gems. Cute edition.
We're talking about episode 9 of RWBY Volume 9 at the moment. I'm not sure how caught up you are, but just warning of spoilers. But yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yang and the hug and everything, because I feel like in this moment, John's the one who is feeling pretty
the one
distraught.
who's here. John is the one that can help right now. I think that's important.
Yeah, that's it. And I feel like with them, they are living in the moment. Yes, something bad just happened, absolutely, but I feel they haven't forgotten about that. That's still bad, and they actually come to reference it again later in the episode. But for the moment, they need to be there for Jean, and that's why, you know, I love what Weiss said in this. I love the hug. I thought it was really nice, and that's how they ended up getting to the tree, because they needed Jean to accept what happened.
Yeah, I think again, if I had choices, I probably would have had Yang more just like a pat on the back, kind of like rather than a strong, like, you know, kind of like a mopey, like, you know, like, yeah, good on you, Jean. I'm glad you're happy.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that would have maybe worked a little better in the context.
Yeah.
But again, Yang's also the kind of personality where she's going to, you know, again, it's like going back to Volume 8 and Ren. You know, you don't need to make jokes. You don't need to make light of every situation. And again, that's what Yang did here in this moment.
Yes.
And again, remember, she doesn't think Ruby's dead. That's in her interpretation. She just thinks she's gone somewhere and will come back.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It's not until she gets to the tree and she really has to think about it that, you know, will Ruby be the same person, kind of thing. So
yeah, and that's I think with the tree too.
It's just one of those things where you could consider it because maybe, you know, and this ties in maybe to the fact that we didn't get a journey to the tree. Yeah, it might be an episode thing because they're in 10 episodes. They kind of had to condense a few things.
Well, I think
so maybe like this journey to the tree could have been its own episode, and we could have had more like Yang going through the motions and all that kind of stuff.
With how the tree works, though, there isn't really a journey to the tree as such. Well, we did see Alex and Lewis walking up to the tree, but I think, especially in this case, was that the tree comes to them rather than them go to the tree. Yeah. So and also, as John said, the reason why they're there is because of RWBY, of course. They need to be there.
Again, it's like the stages of grief and stuff, and you have to kind of acceptance of the reality and. And again, like in the moment, I didn't mind the fact that we just got to the tree because again, like while the whole volume has been journey to the tree, it's also been like, yeah, but that's the illusion. There is no actual journey to the tree. It's just again, like this whole volume isn't a journey. It's a character growth. So the fact that the tree isn't a place,
it's
the place you know. So it actually works.
Yeah.
Even though I will say, in terms of how the world works. I don't know why. Like, there's no reason to go to the tree, and unless you're trying to leave.
Yeah.
Unless you go to the tree to get a leaf to ascend, and that's just I guess that makes sense in the idea that you have to kind of have this acceptance.
Well, the paper pleasers wanted to ascend, and they did try to catch the leaves from the tree.
Yeah, it's one of those things where either you go to the tree to get a leaf comes to you, or you just die, and the roots will take you. I guess it's one of those three. So I guess in that sense, like the idea of like the tree accepted the team RWBY had accepted what ascension is, and then brought them to the tree. Obviously, they're not going to ascend, but obviously the tree might not necessarily understand
and
that.
I feel like the tree sort of helps put them where they need to be and guides them where they need to be, like guided them to the paper pleasers. So
and I do really like that we got the characterization of the tree in this episode. We kind of realized the tree is a good thing. I like that we kind of got
it's
that,
like its own entity, almost like a god, sort of, but not. But its own entity. And I feel like it tries and shape people to be their better selves, and whether that with the afterends, where they have to, to ascend, to become the better selves. I feel like it's trying to do that with them.
I also really liked in that Weiss and Jean moment, just the parallel. I saw side by side of Jean talking to Pyrrha's mother, or whoever that woman was.
Yes.
And you have Jean here, and it's almost a very similar reaction to like the acceptance of, his 20 years, the acceptance of RWBY, the acceptance of the paper pleasers is similar to acceptance of Pyrrha and stuff.
Yeah.
There was like a nice parallel there between his conversation with the red woman and then the connection with Weiss here was a nice touch. I thought, and the whole I know Jean is a bit of a divisive character in terms of like his role in the story and stuff. But the whole I feel like Jean's character arc is very imposter syndrome based, and I feel like it's kind of like we want RWBY going through her arc, so we don't really have time to give an imposter syndrome arc at the moment.
No.
So we'll show Jean going through that as kind of like a parallel, like because RWBY has a very similar issue with imposter syndrome. We just haven't necessarily seen it.
Yes.
at least in this sense. So it's cool to, like, again, because Jean and Ruby are obviously, you know, they're arguably the two main characters of the show.
Yes.
You could argue, like, you
Yes.
know, they're parallels of each other. They're foils of each other.
Yeah. I guess you
so
can say
when they
like
go
the
through
main
each other-
female character and the main male character, in a way.
Yeah. Then they brought in Oscar, and it's like, well, who knows now?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but for this volume, I think it's very important.
And I really like how you got Ruby in a little wooden cocoon, and we also see Herb, and Herb turned into a butterfly, also happy.
So yeah, and we got confirmation later that the forging of the wings and stuff was a nice call on your end. I still don't know what that means with the butterfly, but at least in terms of in terms of what the wings, and we also see a little being forged as well.
Yes, possibly.
And no, I do not think Little is going to be massive. The wings were small compared to Herb's wings. Does not mean just because Little's head's big doesn't mean that Little's going to be massive when Little comes back. That's not what that means.
No.
I've seen a lot of people have Ruby, if she gets a new design, to have like a little pauldron on her shoulder.
Yes. Yeah.
So I thought that'd be cool.
Yeah. Oh, also too, we had when they Yang was trying to like pull all the branches off her, and John sort of had that moment like acceptance, and this is where they the tree wanted them to be, was to be there for Ruby. And Yang, saying, what if Ruby's not her anymore? And then they see her burst out his cocoon, and they're like, well, yeah. And Weiss is like, we'll just have to accept her. It's up to Ruby now. We're just going to accept her. I love that whole conversation.
Yeah, there's two really important things mentioned here. I think that, I guess one was a bit earlier, but I've seen people compare like the whole Weiss telling Jean he's brave, Ruby telling Oscar he's brave, and Blake telling Yang. They're like, there's a lot of like bravery themology in this episode, in this season as well, which I like. They're being brought up here. I also like that. I saw someone compare the scene in Volume 5 with the Relic of Knowledge in this scene, and the idea that these are two of Yang's weakest moments, emotionally. And that time she was alone.
Yeah, this time she has the rest of them.
This time she has Blake and the others and stuff, and just like kind of how she deals with it and stuff.
Yeah, I really like to Blake wiped away a tear, similar to how Yang wiped away Blake's tears back at the end of Volume 6. So that was really nice little comparison. As well.
I do agree. I've seen some people say this, and I didn't think of it at the time, but I do agree. It was more like an issue with the dialogue rather than its intention.
Yeah.
I do think Weiss saying that we've done all we can do was just a bad choice of words.
Yeah, it could have been.
I don't mind the meaning of there's nothing more we can do now. It's all up to Ruby. I feel like that works much better and has the same meaning. But saying that we've done all we can when they arguably have done nothing was a bad choice of words. But again, it's Weiss. She's a little ignorant in that sense, and but she's also been the most understanding of Ruby. So it's hard. Again, it's just a matter of the line should have been, there's nothing more we can do now.
Yeah.
Rather than we've done all we can.
Yeah.
It's a very simple change, but I think it helps a lot.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
So that's the one bit where I was like, bad choice of words, but I get your point.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I don't hate what you said. It's just like, could have said that, could have rewinded and said that better.
And and we got to see Ruby and wherever she is, and meet the armorer. I do like as well, we see before we go back to the tree and then back again, with the souls that are passing by, and I thought maybe the souls that are passing by Ruby are the paper pleasers, because at the time this conversation's happening, it could be before they come back as the Jenny.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the paper pleasers. It could be anything. It could be the people who fell.
There was just quite a few of them. So I thought, that would make sense as the paper pleasers, because...
it would.
Yeah, because they're about to become the genial gems, so they're moving on to their new life.
I know I mentioned it earlier, but I think it is really important to re-mention the fact that Ruby's acceptance in this moment of, like, that didn't help. That didn't fix my problems. What I did. Yeah. And that, it's very important that, people understand that. But, she realizes that, okay, that didn't fix it. And while it led her to the tree and that led her to these changes, I still think it works thematically in the terms of, like, she's understanding that this didn't help, this didn't fix things.
It wasn't a quick fix.
She didn't do what she did to get here, and she mentions that I didn't expect to be here. So in terms of the self-harm things, I think they've covered their tracks quite well in terms of that not being a bad message to send, by Ruby's understanding of it.
And how the armorer
I think-
said, "I wasn't expecting you to be here yet." It's like I think they were expecting Ruby to show up again, but not this soon, and that's because that was hastened up by Neo.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's one of those things where if you're in this world, you will
Yeah.
eventually get to this point. Like everyone eventually.
If they'd gone into the
gets
tree,
to this
then
point.
she probably would have seen the armorer, like we hear with Alex seeing, talking with the tree and having a crisis of conscience there.
And then I like too the detail. You can hear the impacts in the tree, even Ruby's perspective.
Yes.
And then it cuts back to Juniper's perspective, or Ruby's perspective with Jean. And you have.
I like how they have the music, like, the door, and then the music stops and you hear this bang, the cat Neo jumping into the door.
Yeah. And that's a really important detail that I really like, the fact that, Neo is still an agent in the story, in the sense that Neo is the one preventing, because Neo has no emotional ties to Remnant. You can't go there, which I think is an interesting detail of, like, again, why is that the case? Why do you, and I think it's the idea of that, like,
Neo's
I guess you need to have
vengeance.
You need to have the understanding of the next world. You need to realize that you do not have a role in this world.
Yeah.
Therefore, you get sent to Remnant, or therefore you can travel to Remnant if you feel like you don't have a role in this world. Which I guess is a way to interpret it. I'm just curious, like from the world's perspective, why do you need to have attachment to leave this world?
I don't think Afterins can go through the door because the cat would have just gone through the door. So I think, I don't know, there must be something about the door that you need to have some connection to get through it. But I don't know.
That's why I think it makes sense in the idea that if you feel you have no role, if you feel you have no purpose in this world, and you know what Remnant is, then therefore you can leave. Because again, if you have no role in this world, you can leave.
Yeah.
But only if you have no role. And obviously, if you're not from the Ever After, you don't have a role in this world, therefore you can leave. Whereas, if the cat leaves, it's possible that Neo could ascend and become the new Curious Cat of this world.
Yeah.
That might be a way to solve a character and kind of fix her. Might be a way to do it. But because Neo obviously has no connections there, which is interesting. I would have thought, and again, it's kind of why the whole thing last episode wasn't executed perfectly well. I would have interpreted that she still wanted to get revenge on Cinder, but I guess that's just not the case.
I'm thinking, that's true, possibly, but I think the whole purpose of being was poured into a vengeance.
Ruby, it consumed up to the point where nothing else mattered, even though she should want to kill Cinder, but that's, again, fine. We'll see how the story ends up.
And talking of vengeance too, I'm not sure if we've mentioned it previously, but it is a line in the intro as well. So vengeance is a riptide, which is interesting too, because that's whole with Neo's purpose.
That's a great point. Actually,
it's
all consuming.
Yeah,
that's a great point. I wanted to mention too. I forgot to bring it up too. I love the Ruby statue. Yes. Even though it's like wood designed, it looks a lot like Pyrrha's.
Yeah, it does. There's just
a parallel
holding,
there.
Like,
just like the pose and just the color and the texture.
Yeah.
There was being one's wood and one's metal, but I just like that there's like a parallel there. I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But as I said before, like I love, as much as I question what they're doing with Neo, I do find the performance really enjoyable. I love the sass between Weiss and Neo.
Yes.
And just seeing Neo with a voice.
Looks like your little escape plan is not working.
And I will say, and again, whether or not this is intentional, I don't know why, but the male voice coming out of Neo works really well.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I wouldn't have expected that, but it works really well. So that was a nice detail, and I can't believe I didn't see anyone mention it. Am I the only person who's freaked out by Neo's massive arms?
Oh, I didn't mention that either. It is.
It's just like, because she always had the puffed shoulders.
The grim arms, but really thick.
Like she's always had. Yeah, she always had like the puffed shoulders, and then the thin sleeves. But just to rip away the thin sleeves, and now just have these massive arms come out of these puffed shoulders, just like that's such an unsettling design choice.
Really
like I love it, but it's also like.
And
I don't know if I like it.
And I think the cat, because even though the cat's in control of Neo, I believe Neo's still there, and it can access Neo's memories, and of course her semblance, as we see that with the little zombie rubies, which was really creepy, and of course
again, it's almost like
Penny and Pyrrha for Jean.
It's almost frustrating because I wanted Neo to be doing this. Like, why hasn't Neo been doing this for 3 seasons? Why have we had to wait till we get this version of Neo to get this stuff?
But is it?
I know. It's just one of those things where like you're giving us what we wanted, but not through the way I feel like we were asking for.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if RWBY saves Neo, her goal to save everyone, even her enemies.
I think so. I can especially depending on again what this new RWBY is. I definitely think that's a very possibility.
Well, it's like when,
and again, I keep saying
John
that
reacted when the cat took over Neo. He's like, no, like don't do that because
It's one of those things where like the new RWBY, especially if we do get a summer conversation.
Yes.
The new RWBY could just be the old RWBY, just with a better understanding of things. Like, we might not necessarily get a new RWBY design or a new.
I'm hoping she doesn't become Summer, because I always thought with the weapons they're always owned by other people.
That's a very important detail too.
I'm hoping
I feel like
that doesn't happen.
The cliffhanger makes you think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like somehow Summer's going to appear, have a conversation with her, and then we either get the old RWBY, as she was, but just with a better mental state, more or less. Memory's still intact. And again, it feels to me like the whole thing about losing your memories is just...
It's a reset.
Is more like...
Neo
it's more like it's the person's choice. Yeah. The blacksmith, I feel like, made it clear that nothing here happens to you except for what you want. If you don't want to lose your memories, then you won't lose your memories.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I feel like. I feel like the whole, like, everything we've heard about the tree has just been conjecture, theories, thoughts from people who've lost their memories and changed and all this kind of stuff. Yes. But I feel like, especially because she's not never after, and especially, it doesn't necessarily have a role to play in this world. I feel like her memories won't, like, I don't think there's a chance she'll lose her memories or anything like that. So
I'm wondering too if she might become an older person. Not old, but if she does become her new self, I think maybe she might be older. Maybe I just still feel that it's got to be some consequence.
I feel like I would like, I wouldn't mind the detail if she becomes 19, 20, like the rest of the characters. She aids up 2 years to match everyone else. I feel like that would be a poetic significance. Also, kind of matches what Jean's gone through as well. I don't mind that idea. I don't want a completely new character. That's obviously the fear. We get a completely new character, completely new person, completely void of the experiences she's had.
Yeah.
But I also don't like the idea. Again, I feel like we need to get someone to intervene and tell her, don't be me. Yeah. Don't be Penny. Don't be Pyrrha.
Yeah.
Be your own person. Completely. Like, at this point, I don't want White Cloak. I don't want Penny details. I don't want Pyrrha details. I don't want anything. I want something completely original, completely unique. Or just give us the same RWBY we already had, just with a new emblem and a new mindset. I think that's fine too. I think that thematically works with the idea of you are who you are. You don't need to change.
Yeah.
You know, just understand that you're not me, being Summer.
Yes.
And that should be enough.
Get that talk with Summer, and Summer is able to convince.
I do feel like if we get a Penny a Penny and Summer mashup or whatever, I feel like it just defeats the purpose. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But I feel like the show is deliberately making you think that's going to happen in order to swerve you. I feel like it's deliberately doing that, which I think would be interesting. I'm still curious again, like why. Again, like the idea, will she get a new weapon, or will she get an old weapon, or, why is Summer's weapon here? Does Summer have a connection to the Ever After, or is that just the tree, the world kind of just toying, or not toying with her, but just, as we know now, the tree is good, but just kind of like manifesting around her own imagination?
I think so
much like Neo's semblance as well, which I think is a nice parallel.
Before she sees the weapon, like there's sort of like this flurry of leaves in that direction where she turns and follows the leaves. So I kind of feel like they're guiding her. And Summer's weapon, from what we can see of the other ones, is they only really detailed them. The others were very blank. Whereas Summer's has got this really nice red and white detailing on it and such, which none of the others had.
I do really like the detail that she went to like a hammer and was like questioning who. Because again, there is this weird layer of uncomfortableness to everything. Because like the idea that these are all other people's weapons.
Yeah.
These are all people who've existed before, and it's kind of like, who was this person? And it's like, it doesn't matter who this person was, it's what will you be with this kind of thing. And it's kind of like this,
I think it's trying to maybe
inspiration will come before you. Yeah, I feel like it's deliberately trying to have her create her own thing.
Yeah.
By,
don't pick
here's
one of
all these other things you can choose from.
Yeah.
It's like a great parallel. If you've seen Avatar Airbender, the idea when Sokka goes to the Swordmaster, and he can pick all these swords, and he doesn't. He goes to the meteorite he helped save the town from earlier in the day, and he creates his own sword from that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this idea of like, here are all these things you can choose from.
You can be anyone doesn't choose any of them. You want to be.
She has to be her own person.
She can't choose to be someone else.
I hope that's where they're going with this. If they don't, at this point, I'm.
Yeah.
Again, it's like the self-harm thing. It's like, you got to be very careful of the ground you're treading
Yeah,
here.
and
But
I still feel
do
there's
think
got to
she
be
has to
some
become her own
consequence.
thing.
There's got to be a consequence for her doing this too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the parallel to. It's a shame they didn't. Again, there's a lot of things that, man, I wish they kind of touched on more throughout the series. But again, I'm okay they haven't. But the idea of like Ruby creating her own weapon originally in the series,
Yeah.
and now her being here with a blacksmith, like it's all very kind of like,
Yes.
because again she forged her own weapon back in Signal, and now she's here again, in like a similar situation with a blacksmith and a weapon and all that kind of stuff. So
I wonder, like, if we might get a new and improved Crescent Rose as well. Something different, maybe Crescent Rose, but as like a sword or something.
I remember
moving away
back
from the
in Volume...
scythe, because of course that was inspired by Crow.
Yeah, I remember back in Volume 4 when we saw the red trailer. That was the first new piece of content I've seen from RWBY. Was the the character short.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it over and over again. I think I maybe watched some of the leaked footage and stuff back in the day. I wasn't a hardcore fan at this point, so I wasn't really that invested in the success of the series or anything like that at the time. But I remember thinking,
ooh, Golden Later Crescent Rose.
I remember thinking that they had changed something in Crescent Rose and stuff, or like they redesigned it, just because I'm dumb and I didn't know what I was looking at.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh man, I mean, of all things to change, I don't know why, considering what I just said, and this doesn't make any sense, but I'm a hypocrite, so that's fine. I remember thinking, oh man, would they really change Monty's main thing in Ruby's weapon?
Yeah.
They really changed that? I don't know why I thought that, but then it was like, I was happy looking at leaked footage, so again, I was an absolute idiot. I didn't know what I was talking about. But yes, I'm curious again, like, if we do get a new Crescent Rose, or whatever it comes, is this something Monty had an involvement in? Because it seems like a very important part of Ruby's character that feels like has maybe coming for a long time, so I'm always curious again how much Monty had input in this kind of stuff, and designs and stuff, so really interested to see that.
Welcome in, Faz. I do have slippers on, yes. It's actually not that cold here today.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to mention, looking over my notes.
John
got knocked off the tree.
Yeah. I love the comparison of his mortal enemy is trees. Him and trees have never gotten along well.
No.
And the idea of all, like, Joan of Arc, fire, all that kind of stuff. And again, will Jean ascend? Will Jean come back as... If he's ascending, if he fell into the leaves, and like much like eating the leaves, falling into the leaves does this thing to you, does he come back young? Does he change it all?
I didn't think of that.
What?
Yeah.
I'm curious. Just because they lingered on him falling off, like they made that significant.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what that means. I also like the detail of Neo jumping on John's shield, much like Tyrion did.
Yeah.
Like the idea of like the deranged gremlins on John's shield was a nice parallel. I liked that on all the glass cases in the Void.
Yep, they all got this.
They all had designs.
Yeah.
That were similar to Osmond's cane. They all had a similar patterning to the cane, which I like as a detail in terms of like long memory is probably the oldest weapon we've seen in the show.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any weapon that would be older off the top of my head.
Except
even though long memory isn't that old. Obviously, you compare it to the Scepter, but its current form is only a few generations old.
Yeah.
I'd assume.
Maybe Tyrion was thinking Rusted Knight back in Volume 4. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's the intention. I think that's the significance.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I would assume that is what that was meant to allude to at this point. Like,
also because the emblem on his shield is very similar to Salem's emblem too. So.
Yeah. So I'm not sure, but I do like that. But also, it could have been a thing because they have similar semblances. It could have just been like he could sense his semblance because he had a similar one. They have a similar one because like aura, like Tyrion de-amps aura in a sense, and Jean amps aura. So it could just been that allegory.
Maybe.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to accept at this point that that's wrapped up. Like I'm not going to expect if there's more to it, awesome. But I'm not expecting that to be delved on any further at this point.
Yeah.
I like the line of it's also heavy. It's the only thing I can feel anymore, and it never goes away, which is a great parallel to Volume 7 when she's talking to Crow and she says, "This says I'm a huntress now," referring to a license, but I don't know. I don't feel like I know much more than I did at Beacon. And Crow says that feeling never goes away.
Yeah.
So it's a nice tie-in to how she's been feeling this way since Volume 7. This burden.
Yeah.
It's kind of building up through Atlas.
This responsibility. Maybe John gets some that herb. It would be funny if Herb actually catches him.
I mean, when John fell into the tree, it was the same animation in the intro from Herb. So there is a possible connection to that. And also we see Herb ascending here. Something that I can't believe, I don't know if we've mentioned it once this entire volume, and this whole season of Corner of Remnant. And I can't believe we haven't mentioned it yet.
What?
We've had nothing at all, despite the series, connecting to the Relic of Choice.
Oh, no,
we haven't had
haven't.
a tease,
Nothing, yeah.
We haven't had a tie-in, nothing. I saw an artwork that was, that had been done, that was RWBY holding the Relic of Choice in the void.
Oh, yeah.
And it's this idea of that, like, you know, this whole volume, choice has been a strong theme of this volume.
Yeah.
Choosing your own destiny, and you know, and choosing who you are and yourself. And imagine if Ascended RWBY comes out railing the Relic of Choice.
Yeah,
now I don't know
maybe
how that makes sense or why, but I would just love if, like, and again, that would also explain if Ozpin is Lewis, why the Relic is here. Because I always thought that's fine, but that doesn't make any sense. Why would the Relic be here? And that would also tie into possibly if Summer ended up here. If there is a tie to Ozpin, that would maybe make sense.
Yeah,
but
I would say Choice Relic had a special place. That's very true.
I'm just curious if there's any sort of tie-in to this volume with the Relic.
Maybe the door will open into Beacon, where Beacon is in the where the.
Not sure.
Maybe.
Also, this is completely unrelated, but I just saw someone mention how, Cinder and Neo's backstories parallel each other quite well. Which is something I never really thought of till now. Obviously, like, kind of similar. Like, I remember someone mentioned that the Vanilla Unicorn is 100% a place that the Vanilla family would visit on holidays.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that there's a possibility that Cinder and Neo might have met each other when they were younger.
Possibly.
Very, like, loosely. So I just like that kind of idea. And I loved the line from the cat when he's fighting Jean and kind of discussing, you know, you killed Alex, you're a monster, how could you do that? And he's like, and you're just playing night, and just more of this. I love the line of just more fairy tale nonsense and these delivery. I've going back and watched that fight and just gone, just more fairy tale nonsense. I just loved.
Yeah, because they're all like, this is a fairy tale, but, you know, to the Afterans, this is their world, this is their life. Like, this is just how things are. Would have been cool getting a Neo cameo and Cinder's backstory. Yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah.
But and I love the detail too of like Penny and Pyrrha, like you mentioned earlier. Coming to kind of shadow Jean. It's just one of those things, like, I feel like we wanted that for so long, and I don't know. I feel like the cat doing it makes it a little less significant. I don't know why. Like, I would like Neo to have done that and play with them earlier in the series. But I'm glad we finally did get that, and it clearly affected him. And the symbology of, like, you know, Pyrrha dying to fire and John being knocked off by fire by Weiss of all people.
I think he did realise it was Pyrrha because he sort of looks behind him, so I think so.
Yeah.
I
think he realised. I think it just kind of, like, shocked him.
Yeah.
It all happened so fast, and that I think that's the point.
Are you finally settling down, are you, miss?
Just in time.
Yeah, finally. Eh?
So yeah, and I was saying, I think I was saying before the stream, I can't remember, that this might be the first piece of media I've watched in a long time where I felt genuinely cliffhung.
Yes.
And I really appreciate, and don't get me wrong, the episode is like 15 minutes. Like, it's not that short. It feels very short, and it is the shortest episode.
It is a really short.
I
felt like it was very short, but I don't know. Yeah.
So yeah, and generally cliffhung, and again, we still got some dialogue from the trailer that we hadn't heard. Not saying we will definitely hear it next episode.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like it leads more credence to the idea that I think we're going to get, you know, RWBY's going to attempt to take someone's weapon.
Or at least she's going to hopefully, have a chat with Summer. I hope so.
Yeah, but then there has to be this realization of, like,
more what happened to Summer to him, like a bit more of a... Because it's either she fell in the Ever After and she's in the Ever After, which I don't know about that, or she was turned into a Grim, like the Hound.
Oh yeah, we still don't know what happened to Alex and Lou. We don't know how they got here.
No, we don't know how Alex and Lewis got here either. That's a good point. We don't know how they came to the Ever After either. Yeah,
again, like the only thing I can think of is, like, if... Well, I don't say the Spring of Creation, but we know the Spring of Creation is just a spring because Salem fell in there and she just got immortal. She didn't, like, teleport to the Ever After or anything. So, yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll explain that.
Yeah, I wonder if... I'm just trying to think. I wonder if maybe because there's a portal in Vacuo that doesn't have anywhere to go now because the portal on the other side. I'm trying to think. Did the portal on the side close? It did close up. It wasn't there anymore.
Yeah,
I know it's sealed up, but was it not actually there anymore?
I think it disappeared. Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay. Never mind.
This episode is almost like one half of a 30-minute episode combined. Yeah. It definitely felt like it needed to be with the finale. Like,
yeah. But again,
part one and part two.
I liked that. It didn't bother me. I actually quite liked that they did that.
Yeah.
It generally feels
short,
like
but I still really enjoyed the episode. I thought the editing back and forth was a little, especially at the end there, I thought it's a little, like, could have had a bit more longer scenes with the cat Neo fight.
Yeah, see, normally I agree, because it's such a dumb thing.
I felt
these
like
days
it was
how
very,
yeah. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I think in the modern age, they do that in every sort of medium. They cut fights way too much. Because it's just easier to do it that way, and it sucks. But no, it didn't bother me at all, just because I feel like it's paralleling the frantic nature of that situation compared to the frantic turmoil emotionally of RWBY on the inside.
Yes.
And it's very like it's like when you got too many thoughts running in your head and you can't think straight because you're thinking of too much. So I thought it was quite poetic. And I'm surprised it didn't bother me, because you're right, it should, but surprisingly it didn't. Again, and that was a lot with this episode. In hindsight, man, that should bother me. That should have bothered me, but none of it really did. I just thought it worked really well. And look, at the end of the day, it's the 22nd, 21st, wherever you are. It's the 22nd. Today's the day. We are getting the finale tonight. So despite how short it was, we're here now, so it doesn't matter because we're gonna get it.
Yes.
So yeah, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think off the top of my head, I think we're gonna get some of RWBY talk. RWBY's going to become something wholly unique with no
RWBY's
inspiration from anyone, I don't think.
So it's going to come out of a cocoon.
Yeah, or she'll just be herself back to normal, but better mentally.
I still feel there's going to be some sort of change,
Yeah, I feel like somehow, granted I don't know how, but I feel like somehow the cat and Neo are going to separate, and the cat's going to go through to Remnant.
I feel like the cat won't be, but we'll see.
Again, like, there's no reason, but I'm saying this is what I want and would like to happen.
You just want to have a shot with Salem patting the cat, sitting on her throne.
I just think those two characters make a lot of sense for them to be allies. They have the exact same goals.
I know.
I feel like Neo will probably stay in the Ever After or join our team, but again, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. I feel like RWBY won't do much this episode. I feel like they'll just be there fighting. I don't think there'll be much development on their end. Apart from maybe might get a Bumblebee kiss. Maybe we'll get some White Knight stuff. Maybe it's like a parallel between, like, you have Bumblebee and you have White Knight, possibly. I mean, I feel like when they went to the tree, that is kind of what they were framing it as. Like the idea of, like, you know, because again, it's sad that Weiss doesn't have anyone here when Bumblebee has each other, and at least Jean and Weiss, maybe not in a romantic sense, but at least in this moment have each other.
Yeah, they,
because they have a lot of history and stuff, and
after and I feel like the fact that ascending, maybe. We still don't know again, how the Afrans go.
If the cat does leave somehow, if the cat does leave somehow, it makes sense to me that RWBY, if Neo stays here, Neo has to take that role of the cat in this world.
Yeah, possibly.
I feel like that would make sense. I feel like that'd be an okay ending for her. I feel like she would appreciate that. Now she doesn't have any ties to Remnant. Or she comes to her senses and she goes and kills Cinder. One of the two.
Don't know.
Yeah, but I do think that this episode will probably end going through the door, fade to white. I don't think we'll get an after credit scene, and I feel like we'll have to wait a few months before we hear if we'll ever get anything more. This could be the end, and you know, it'd be a crap way to end on.
Yeah.
But I do like E.C. Byers, the guy who wrote the books. He came up with an idea. If this is the end of RWBY, you just have an end of credit scene where it's just Vacuo, and then written in the sand is Salem was here. The idea that Salem had already been here, she already destroyed Vacuo while in the Ever After, and that's just the end of the show. I'm like, that sucks.
No, I'm fingers crossed for Volume 10. Of course, make sure you watch the episodes on Crunchyroll, because that is how you really support the show right now. Talk about it on social media and hype it up. Go
buy the Justice League movie DVD, Blu-ray when that comes out in about a few days. That comes out 25th, I believe. That comes out. I'll be buying that when it comes out. I do know too. Speaking of, we kind of mentioned it earlier. I know that episode 10 has apparently been leaked. Apparently, concept art and clips from Volume 10 have apparently been leaked. I know most of the Justice League movie has been leaked at this point.
Well, they've been sharing snippets of the Justice League movie too.
Yeah, but apparently most of the movie has been spoiled or leaked or whatever. which really sucks for the productions because they're already in a rough position as it is.
It does,
yeah. I don't know how but again, I remember seeing earlier this week that apparently concept art and snippets from episode 10 got out somehow, which I've never seen that for RWBY before.
No.
I assume that's either a Crunchyroll thing, or
Maybe.
that's just an independent contractor who's updated their art station before they were meant to, like stuff like that, like someone who they just hired, like a contractor they hired in to finish up volume 9, and just has put stuff out there unintentionally. Somebody like isn't a part of RWBY kind of thing, technically. So yeah, I assume one of those things happened, but it's like I haven't seen anything. I saw someone mention something about Vacuo, but that could have been theory crafting, so I have no idea.
I see Vacuo is trending on Twitter.
Yeah, but just make sure, guys, please watch the official sources. We want volume 10, so please support the Regame, because again, if we get a volume 10, we can come back here next season and do more Remnant. So, yeah. It's kind of funny. We probably could have not done Corner of Remnant this year because we're not in Remnant. Could have done the Corner of...
No, that's true. We're not.
Could have done the Acre of After. The Acre of After. I should have done that. I should have changed
We still haven't seen all the acres either. We didn't get to see the ice cream one. I was hoping to see the
ice
cream
one. I didn't. With 10 episodes, I never thought we'd see much of everything. But, we still never saw more of the Jabberwocker Acre, which was interesting. We didn't really get to see.
I wonder what happened with the Jabberwocker. If Neo killed it or what?
Yeah, I think Neo just killed it and was just using her overpowered semblance to just kind of recreate them and stuff. So I assume that, again, the Jabberwocker will come back, but again, after. Like, it just takes time. Because some of these ascensions can take longer than others. Because, I guess Herb was in the tree for at least a day, roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah, a day and a 2 day and a half, day and a bit, something like that. So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I'm very much looking excited to next volume and, next episode.
The grade 1. Neo uses Jabberwocker self-sacrifice. I don't know. Praise the great one in Waifu.
Yeah.
But we'll wrap it up there for today because we both got to go do things. Thank you all for watching. For those watching on YouTube as well as Nightwalker and anyone else who's watching on the live stream. We appreciate you. We'll be back next Saturday, of course, to discuss the finale.
Yes, don't forget, if you're interested to, Boopcast is on later today. So if you want to hear more discussions on episode 8 and 9, by all means, feel free to go check them out, friends of ours.
Yeah.
And, oh man, I'm nervous, but excited.
Yes, same. I'm excited.
Next week, I just want it to end on a good note.
I want to see what's going to happen with RWBY, and I don't
want to read more Twitter bullshit. I just want everyone to enjoy the episode.
Yes.
Because I know I will. But, yeah. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next week. So until then...
Thank you for
have
watching.
a good week, everyone.
Thank you for watching.
Bye!
Bye!